Hello, dear friends. Here we are. One more day, 21 days of empowerment, redefining money. This journey is based on therapeutic conversations on the book Money by the spirit author Emmanuel through the medium Chico Xavier. Buying this book at the website of the United States Spiritist Federation, you have an opportunity to know more also about the medium, Chico Xavier, and also about the author of the book, which is also the author of several other books. And we are on day 16, though this is chapter 15, Greed. Very interesting because the educator Emmanuel brings to us analysis and therapeutic tools for us to deal with an inevitable tool in this life, which is money. Money, wealth, and everything that comes with it, the whole package. So in this book, he analyzes and brings to us the spiritual view, which is universal. It's not an opinion. He's bringing to us spiritual facts, which are laws of the spiritual life. Okay? So this is precisely what we'll be studying today. Chapter 15 on greed. Greed. So interesting. Because how often do we think about people who are greedy? And even in the book Heaven and Hell by Allan Kardec, funny enough, we have cases of spirits that come back and talk about when they were greedy on earth. What happened to them in the afterlife? What's going to happen in another life? So it's very important for us to understand that for every action, there's a reaction. There are consequences. And if you want to read or listen to the cases, go to KardecRadio.com. We have a tab, audiobooks. And in that tab, you're going to see many books, the Spirit's book, Non Solar, The Messengers, but you also will find Heaven and Hell. We've got like more than 54 people working on this project, and we got all the cases, beautiful cases, true accounts of those who departed and came back to tell us what happens next after we have made XYZ choices here. So looking at this life continuum, here we are. And for those who are in our beautiful community, would like to say hi. Hello, Adilson. Hello. How are you? And it's a very, very good moment for us to meditate in the current times about greed. Hello, Sunshine, and Leia Severo, Marilda, McCurfy Claire, how are you? Andrea, hello, Angelita, and Jussara. You know, I know you're asking the question about the next book. As soon as we come to know, we'll share with you. We're going to, according to our plans, we're going to finish this study on Thursday of this coming week of February, which is going to be February the 23rd. As soon as we know, we'll share with you, okay? We're waiting the recommendations by the loving spirits. We wish it depended on us alone, but we'll share with you what's gonna happen next, okay? But as soon enough so you can acquire the book, if the book is already published in English, because there is also that possibility, and we may be using something that is not published yet. But let's wait and see. Meanwhile, hello, Melissa and Patricia. Friends, this chapter, as every chapter, is so surprising. Because when you think about greed, do you think you're greedy? It's more it's more recommendable that we ask how greedy we are, because we're gonna learn that greed is about withholding something for ourselves alone. We're withholding something. How greedy do you think you are? 0 to 10. And this is not, you don't need to share here to the community, but these are therapeutic moments. It's important that we have this courage to immerse ourselves inside and ask, how greedy am I? Whatever you define of greediness, okay? Because that's going to be the interesting part. Emmanuel is going to redefine it. Are you ready? Ready, set, and go. Greed. The miser of material goods is the lender of disapproval, but the miser of love is worthy of pity. The first one, the miser of material goods, hides in a golden well, while the second one, the miser of love, delves into the shadows of the heart. The coined wealth of the miser retains stones, metals, and papers of conventional value, which overrides life's provision of resources to the community. But the miser of the soul retains the source of happiness, of peace, of hope, and of good cheer that constitutes indispensable food for their own life. The miser of wealth, material wealth, fears spending trifles and surrenders to illness and hunger. The miser of love fears disseminating superior knowledge that enriches themselves and creates incomprehension around their own steps. The misers of physical wealth imprison themselves in selfishness. The misers of blessings of the soul generate stagnation wherever they are, wrapping themselves in disturbing fog. Although you may not possess money to meet the needs of others, do not forget the treasure of spiritual gifts that the Lord has given at the core of your soul. Help always. The most useful people are those who dedicate themselves to others, bolstering their lives. Banks and filled money bags can await the cold adjustment of the numbers without consciousness. However, the heart that loves is the sun for the benefit of individuals that converts difficulty, pain, misfortune, and shortage into prodigious resources intended for human support. In precisely few paragraphs, around 10, 11 paragraphs, usually that's the size of each and every chapter, Emmanuel is very, very straightforward in his definition. He's telling us that there's a new type of greedy person, miser. One that withholds talents, gifts, of the soul and does not share, does not multiply? First question to all of us. Let us revisit what we just did before we started reading. Shall we? Asking ourselves, are we a miser of the soul? Is there anybody in our circle of connections, our network, that needs attention, love, kindness, comprehension, understanding, friendship, and we for some reason are withholding it? You know how many times we do that out of convenience? Think about people in your network, whether family member, relative, neighbor, colleague at work, friend in the Spiritist Center or in the Spiritist movement, or in any religious circle. Someone who is not very much understood by others, and you are afraid even of sharing their post on a Facebook page. What are people going to think of you? And you're avoiding to multiply the good news because you're afraid of what people are going to think of you. When the disciples of Jesus avoided talking to Mary Magdalene, in spite of the fact that Jesus accepted her, counted on her to share the good news as well, they were misers of the soul at that very moment. That didn't hurt her for too long. It was for a short while. But we know through the hands of Humberto de Campos that as soon as she encountered her pathway, she found what she needed, and she was never abandoned by the Master. How often we think in our ego, in our pride, that we have the power to withhold the happiness of others. It's just an illusion. It's just an illusion. Deep inside, he's saying that when we do so, the greatest damage is for our own selves. Because our conscience is not going to approve of ourselves later. So we need to revisit. We need to revisit inside of us whether or not we have this single opportunity of multiplying resources we have at hand, emotional, spiritual ones, and we're not doing out of social convenience. Let me say hi to our friends who entered after we read. Hello, Solange and César. Hello, César. Bianca. Hello, Bianca. Luciana, Tuani. How are you? It's great to have everybody here. Margaret, thank you for the flowers. Our community is rejoicing. I bet they are with the beautiful flowers in the heart, Margaret. But let us think for ourselves. A miser of material goods is the lender of disapproval, because he even goes through hunger and difficulties because he's like, no, I'm not gonna buy anything, not even food, because I need to save. Right? And we're gonna learn the effects of that mental attitude in the spiritual realm. When the person discarnates, first it takes them a while to know they discarnated. Second, when they realize they're desperate. Because they realize that wealth is not theirs any longer. They're desperate. There is a book by Divaldo Franco, which is already in English, though not published. Fatal Diamonds. Diamantes Fatídicos. A very thick novel by the spirit author Victor Hugo. This book was beautifully translated and revised by members here of the Spirit Society of Virginia, and it's been for a little while in the hands of the publisher, awaiting its publication. In that book, we're going to see the case of how many people, out of this greediness, they stay attached to a diamond and the tragedies behind it. Yes, people can be that petty, more than we imagine. That's the nature of our world. We're still evolving. We have a long way. But here we know, worse than the miser of material goods is the miser of love. Because withholding love and not sharing, not expressing love, I'm worthy of pity. How good are you at expressing how you feel about other people? We need to learn. And it's not only about words. Remember that song? More than words. It's much more than words. It's about expressing the nonverbal. The nonverbal. It's about feeling. It's about the way we look at the person. The way we hug. The way kissing, caressing, smiling, being open, just open. Not like crossed like this. Open. The body language expressing love, approval. How often you meet people and you don't look at them in the eye? We don't even tell them anything good. Misers of love. Smiling at people. People are kind, are loving, and even if they are not, one more reason to share love, because they need love. Even Hollywood, in cartoons, movies for adults, is playing that message. It's worthwhile investing in love, expressing love. How about us? Scale 0 to 10. How good are you at expressing love? 0 being not good at all. 10, excellent. How good are you at expressing love? And love not in a romantic way only, sensual way, but love for humanity, for life, for animals and plants. How good are you at expressing love? Question? Therapeutic question? Yes, because after all, you know the song, right? All you need is love. All you need is love. Love. Love is all you need. Dooby-dooby-doo. And that's how it is. We sing and we feel. We feel and we sing. And it helps us, right? All we need is love, but are you expressing it? Don't be shy. Yeah. Let your light shine. Why not? And the first one, the miser of material goods hides in the material fortune, but the second one delves into the shadows of the heart. And it's so interesting, friends, because we see science pointing to us how many people have cardiovascular disorders due to the fact that they have a hard time dealing with their expression of love or expression of emotions in general. And then we're going to create shadows, vibrational shadows. Andre Lewis repeats that to us in several books, including Evolution into Worlds. We realize the grave mistake we have committed and what happens to us. Let me give you a case. In the book Heaven and Hell by Kardec, there we have a lady in the 19th century, true account. She had a farm. And you know, taking care of a farm nowadays is hard. Imagine at that time. She didn't have anybody to help her but a nephew. But the nephew was too lazy, very lazy. And he didn't want to help much. So she had to extenuate herself, really go above and beyond the call of duty to help and to do what she needed to do. Well, she actually got sick because it was too much. She died. He inherited everything, but soon after he died, that nephew died in an accident. Knowing of the story by somebody else, Kardec evoked the whole story in a mediumistic meeting to understand more about what now in the spiritual realm. To our surprise, we've come to know through the guides, the mediums told what the spirit guides were sharing, that the nephew was responsible for the death of that lady because he, out of laziness, did not help her. And we think being lazy, we're not doing anything. It's one of the greatest evil. When you say, and you know when people call you to do stuff, you're like, oh, I wish I could sleep more. I wish I could nap more. Enjoy my life more. Until we find out that the greatest enjoyment of life is serving. Service. Service. Serving everyone. What do you need? What can I do to help? And that's our disposition. How can I help you? How can I help you? This is not a sentence that is only for people who are selling things in the stores. It's for everyone. How can I help you? Everywhere I go, how can I help you? And when we teach children doing that, fantastic. How can I help you? That's the secret of life. Okay, go on. Because Emmanuel goes deep. He reveals something very unique. He says, the miser of the soul retains, withholds, confiscates happiness, peace, hope, good cheer, that are indispensable food for their own life. No wonder there are people who are depressed and anxious. They have gifts they are not sharing. And they stagnate. We need to Let it flow, let it flow. Instead of snow flurries, love. Let it flow, and allow it to flow. Do you think you are withholding any of this? Let me read it again. Happiness, peace, hope, good cheer. Psychologically speaking, let's go deeper. Joana de Angelis, recapitulating some of the findings of psychoanalysis, she goes a step deeper and she reveals to us that our education in childhood can be a great obstacle for us to blossom the best in us. If you had a very repressive childhood in which, children are joyful and light, they want to play and they are mindful, and adults often they don't know how to do it, so they're always oppressing and repressing. No, don't do it, don't go there, and bullying too. I've seen many parents, they laugh together at their children in front of them. That's bullying. It begins at home. No, we don't. Not even sarcasm. Sarcasm is acid. Chico Xavier already published several messages talking about how sarcasm is not humor. There is no sense of humor in sarcasm. It's acid and connects us with minds that are not happy. There is a sense of a sadistic mind when we play sarcasm and irony. And with children, we then will be creating beings that when they become adults, they will tend, most often than not, to repeat the mistakes and not be happy. Remember in the book, I have the book here, hold on, as we're talking about children. Thought in Life, chapter 13. It says here, okay. A child will receive the mental reflexes of its parents and teachers. These imprint on the child's cerebral plate images influence their whole existence. Their whole existence. And then we're going to see adults who become misers of happiness, misers of peace, of hope, of good cheer. Why? Because they were taught that way by other misers. But you may be asking, is it possible to put a stop in that circle of life? Yes. It takes one person, one generation, to change consciousness. It can be you. And it hopefully will be you and I. Not the next generation. Us. We can change it now. But Vanessa, my children are already older. But if you're still in touch, the brain's plastic. The mind is open to the new always. All we need to do is attune with that new consciousness, and then everything in our lives are going to change. People are going to feel inspired. Look at Paul of Tarsus. He changed. And everything changed around him. Literally, everything changed. So it takes us to put a stop on the repetition of greediness of love in our families, in our communities, even in spiritist centers. Because sometimes people are more concerned about the knowledge than the action. More about clubbing, literally. Many spiritist centers become clubs. I want to mingle, get together and talk and chat and have friends because this is where I have my friends. But spiritist centers are not clubs. I'm sorry, but they're not. And the Sueli Calda Schubert, in the book Dimensões Espirituais do Centro Espírita, Spiritual Dimensions of the Spiritist Center, not yet in English, but there's some material we have already published in the internet, and you can see it in English. There is a show at Kardec Radio where we discuss several chapters of the book. And she, in the preface, has a message by Dr. Bezerra de Menezes through Divaldo Franco, saying, when spiritist centers become clubs where people mingle and they chat, they just want to cherish their friendship, discipline and spiritual practice is secondary. These centers do not have a particular category of spirits present therein. The types of spirits that are with us are not too evolved. Why? Because they can't waste their time. They have to take care of people. So if people don't want to go to the center to grow, to progress, to learn, to be healthier, holistically speaking, then we'll have a different attunement. Exactly. That's what Melissa is sharing here with us. It's all about attunement. It's all about the intention when we go there. Hello, Rihanna. Welcome, welcome, friend. And João Bosco. Hello, friends. So, the miser of material wealth fears trifles, fears spending, trifles, and surrender to illnesses and hunger. How many people, they say, I'm not going to eat organic because it's expensive. Okay, go ahead, eat non-organic food, and then you're going to spend much more money later in life because the toxins of the non-organic food is going to go to your body, it's going to create damage, wear and tear, and then it's going to be expedited, and then you're going to spend much more money later. Oh, but I don't want to spend that much money. Well, so either we open another store, which is more cost effective, or we have to surrender to what there is and plan ahead and prioritize what is more important. I'm not going to spend money in a yoga class. Okay, being sedentary is going to be more expensive because it can cost our lives. It can cost an incarnation. Taking care of the body is in the Gospel according to Spiritism as one of the main recommendations of the Spirit. Take care of the body and spirit. Why did they publish that message in the book by Kardec, the Gospel according to Spiritism? Why the body first and then spirit? Because the body is the reason why we are reincarnated. Without the body, we can't be here. So we need to take care of the body, but not extenuating ourselves as we saw yesterday. The demands of physical life, being poor of the demands, meaning eating less, drinking more water, exercising. And exercise doesn't need to be fancy. Some people are like, oh, I need to go. Just like when I was a teenager, I used to go every day to the gym. But when you were a teenager, you didn't have other responsibilities. Right now, according to science, you don't need to go more than or do moderate exercise for more than a particular number of hours a week. It's about a daily stretch that we can do at home. It's about the daily breathing exercises, daily, sometimes cleaning a little bit, washing the dishes instead of the dishwasher, or even if it's a dishwasher, you have to go up and down. But, adding to the plate habits that will make us more physically active, right? So we're talking here about the life, as we're talking about money, it's about the life in an incarnate level to sustain the spirit that is progressing. We can't be greedy to the point that we're not going to live the physical life that we need, taking care of what we need. Like, for example, take a shower. Oh, but it spends time, and I wish I could use that time for something more useful. We understand, but hygiene is of the essence. Eating. Some people say, but eating, Vanessa, I eat anything because I don't have time. Friends, the body is not a slave. We cannot enslave the body. We need to caress it and say, thank you, body. Thank you for cooperating and working with us. I know we go through challenges, but I'm very appreciative of you. Thank you, body. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this beautiful instrument that we have, the vocal cords. Thank you for the eyes that can see, for the nose that can perceive the fragrances of life, the mouth that can not only nourish us but allow us to have some sense of pleasure, right? The ears that can make us listen and hear the sounds of our loved ones and nature. The beautiful brain inside of our skull. The skull that protects our beautiful brain, our neck, that holds this connection between the seat of the mind, the seat of feelings, the heart, the hands, the arms, the thorax, the abdomen, our reproductive areas, our inner viscera that compose the gastrointestinal system. They work so beautifully, absorbing nutrients and releasing toxins. Yes, we go to the bath and say, thank you, bladder and urethra, for expelling what we don't need. Because when we have problems at that level, it doesn't happen. We don't need to await the problems to appear, to be grateful. So being grateful is also a way of being rich in gratitude. Not a miser of love, not a miser of happiness, not a miser of peace and hope and good cheer. Good cheer. Are you a good cheerleader of your body? Think about this. It begins with us, right? Everything begins with us. So let us ask this therapeutic question. Are we being misers of good cheer to the body? How often do you express your gratitude to this body and say thank you? Thank you legs, thank you feet, thank you toes, thank you fingers, thank you back and spinal cord, Thank you, everyone, the beautiful selves. How often we encourage the body to do what it needs to do and say thank you. Are you a good cheerleader of your own body? Without vanity? Without vanity. What about that? Hello, Rita Di Cassia. And here we have the first one, the miser of things in the world, right? Fears spending and then surrenders to illness and hunger because they don't want to spend. But now, the miser of the soul fears disseminating superior knowledge that enriches us and creates incomprehension around their own steps. When we withhold knowledge, superior knowledge, we're hurting our own selves. Because when we share, we learn more than when somebody teaches us. And we create incomprehension around our steps. And no wonder we have the big ignorance that we have around us. Because people are withholding things that would benefit everyone. Misers of physical wealth imprison themselves in selfishness, but the misers of blessings of the soul generate stagnation wherever they are and wrap themselves in disturbing fog. And you know that disturbing fog will create what? Different lenses. We're going to see the world differently. And when we see the world differently, we are at risk of being imprisoning ourselves in a self-obsession that will naturally open doors for obsession. Spirit attachment. We need to ask ourselves, if I am stagnated at any level, ask, what is the blessing of my soul that I am withholding, that I am retaining? Because when I am really in synchronicity, life flows. Challenges happen, but I am flowing. Wherever I am useful. And I am fulfilled. When I find myself feeling stagnated, the first question is, where in my life am I retaining a blessing that I have been lent by God and I'm not passing on? I'm not multiplying. I'm keeping it for myself. What is it? Go to the book The Messengers by Andrea Lewis. The people who are prepared sometimes for 30 years in spiritual colonies to reincarnate, and through the spiritist practice, mediums, coordinators of activities for children and youth, past givers, whatever the case is, whatever activity, they committed themselves to reincarnate and through that work help many lives. But then we decide not to, and our lives become stagnated. It's the case of majority of people who come to know of Spiritism and they say, I've been studying, but my life still doesn't untie itself up. Yeah, what is the blessing that you are withholding to you. You're keeping a bank account filled with golden coins. You're not using and you're not sharing. You're not using and you're not sharing. Like a miser of material wealth. They have a lot of money. They don't use it for themselves. They live a miserable life. And they don't share with anyone. Mediums who read these books, study them, don't do anything. I've seen people who go to study sessions in spiritist centers. And recently, Mentor Joseph was saying, Vanessa, do not allow people to become parasites. Because sometimes giving too much knowledge without proposing action, you're giving them, you're sharing with them a treasure that if it's not shared and multiplied, is going to create disease. Because our conscience is not going to approve of ourselves. Because we're not applying these teachings. In spiritist centers, we often propose, let's study this and that and the other, but pay attention. Because sometimes I know people who, in Brazil, and I know in Brazil because I know more people for the longest time there, who have been studying Spiritism for what? Let me see, 60 years or more. They go to the center, they study, go to the lectures and study. If they need spiritual treatment, they go to the spiritual treatment. But they never propose themselves to do anything. And the question is, what can the Spiritist Center do to help that person? No, we're not demanding anything from the person. But we need to do something to help the person not to fall trap into this. It's a kind of what? Stagnation and vampirism. I collect knowledge. People are serving and I'm receiving. Receiving, 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 and never giving. Oh, but I'm obsessed. I'm too busy. I have my problems. Not now, later. And then you go for a lecture, a talk. When we see people going to the Spiritist events, for each Spiritist event we attend, we need to ask the participants, you need at least to spend 1 hour or similar hours doing something good for others. Otherwise, you're receiving credit, like a spiritual loan, and you're not using the money for the general good, not even for yourself. One time, the bank is going to call and say, what have you done with it? Nothing. So we at the centers, we who are coordinating the meetings, we who are coordinating the events need to remind the public. If you're sitting here, you are at your own risk acquiring this loan. And if you don't do anything to spread it, you're going to feel guilty over time. So make sure that for each hour of receiving, you plan at least a few minutes of giving. And the math of life is so interesting. Remember when Mentor Joseph was asking us to do the math? When we take 24 hours a day, 24 times 7, 168 hours per week. How many hours do we devote ourselves to helping people? 2 So what do we do with the other 166? So we need to ask people, you're spending this time acquiring more knowledge, more spiritual tools. For what? It's important that at least a few minutes a day, and we say this because God does not demand, but He proposes transformation. Then we ask ourselves, what am I doing with it? I have a treasure at hand. And remember, when Chico Xavier turned 60 years of practice of mediumship, and that's Chico, with his intense schedule, Emmanuel came to him and said, you know, that in Jesus' time would be 6 minutes, as far as I recall. Meaning 60 years of Chico Xavier's intense devotion on mediumship. It only counted for 6 minutes of Jesus' intense, selfless giving schedule. And we demand, acquire a lot of mercy from God. Well, what are we doing with it? What are we doing with it? Hello, Binhão, and Aiden, and Alba. So we need to ask ourselves, although you may not possess the money to meet the needs of others, do not forget the treasure of spiritual gifts that the Lord has given at the core of your soul. Help always. Friends, this is not Vanessa. I am just an apprentice like you. We are learning together. It's saying, if you don't have the money, don't worry. Be happy. Don't worry. Be happy. And help always. Oh yeah. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Help always, help always, help always. Help always, help always. How? Beginning the thought. But Vanessa, how am I gonna do? Beautiful thoughts. Beautiful feelings. You visit a family member. Oh, that family member. Think beautiful thoughts. Shall we? Like Mentor Joseph says, think of the guardian angel of that person. If you're having a hard time feeling something good for somebody, think that person is a child of God and has a guardian angel that loves this person. He's a representative of God. Connect mentally with that guardian angel, saying, you know, you love this person. I don't yet. But I know we're destined to be friends, to be together, to be good brothers and sisters in humanity. Please help me. Help me find the good. And seek the good. And allow the guardian angel of the person to inspire you. To see things in this person you haven't seen. The same for everyone in our lives. It's our choice. It's a choice we're making. We're changing all our lives. It's true, make a better day, just you and me. And that's how we change. We are the world. We are the world. We are the children of God. We are the ones who make a better day. So let's start helping and giving. Not only money, but gifts, spiritual gifts. the treasures of spiritual gifts that the Lord has given. At the core of your soul, you have a treasure. Where's this treasure? You have a map. Where's the map for the treasure of your soul? Where is it? The map is right there in your feelings. Feel it. Breathe in and say, I'm a child of God. Breathe out. I'm the heir of the universe. Breathe in. I'm a child of God. Breathe out. Can you visualize the universe and think, you possibilities, huh? According to chapter 3 of the Gospel According to Spiritism, boost your imagination, my friend. It's one of the departments of the mind. Think, we're here on Earth, but we can reincarnate in another planet one day and incarnate in another planet, in another galaxy. Imagine one day you're granted the possibility of meeting Leon Denis in person. Did you know the United States Spiritist Federation is releasing a new version, beautiful cover? Jussara Korngold shared this with us, and we are so in love with that book. Yeah, so in love. Such a masterpiece. And it's going to be released on Monday, but you can pre-order your copy by going to spiritist.us. Right, Jussara? That book is a must. Now imagine when you meet Leon Denis one day. And whomever you want. What an opportunity. Go wild with the beautiful thoughts. And that's how we're going to find the treasures, the spiritual gifts inside of us. Right? Rita DiCassa is sharing, you can achieve anything by the love that Jesus is embracing us, right? Yes. Thank you, Rihanna. Yes. Right? Our thoughts. We need to. And finally, Emmanuel says, the most useful people are those who dedicate themselves to others, bolstering their lives. Help always. So, let us wake up this Sunday, shall we? If you are already awake, because I know you are other parts of the world, that's okay. If you're watching this later and your day is already half through, the exercise for us Mentor Joseph is giving. That question, how can I help you? Everyone you encounter, if you don't want to ask out loud, ask inside of your mind. How can I help you, child of God? Whenever you see somebody, look at the person and say, this person is a child of God. Think about this, feel it, and ask mentally, with your heart open, how can I help you? But, you don't have to have solutions, because it's not you. You're co-creating with God. So, the Creator knows. You just pass it on. He gives you the gift. You just pass it on. It's just like food. Can you pass the salt, please? Oh, yes. And you pass it. But be in that position of open to serve, to help. Always. And he says the most useful people. And he says, those people who keep the money in their banks, well, they're going to weigh the adjustment. But retaining love is going to create lots of problems. And he says, the heart that loves is the sun for the benefit of individuals, converting misfortunes, difficulties, shortages into prodigious resources intended for human support. Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. How about that? And you convert yourself in a beautiful sun, shining your light brightly towards everyone. That's the proposal. Emmanuel is bringing to us a beautiful understanding how we can become the sun of light in the life of others. How can I help you? Shall we? And when we come back, it's already midnight here, we're gonna talk about the paltry sum. What is it? It's about giving. What else? Is it about a smile? That is a smile of understanding and encouragement to an unknown fellow. Ooh, just a teaser for you and I. Meanwhile, how can I help you, friend?